Hello YouTubers, this week's video is WEGOVY for Veterans number 4, starting 0.5 milligrams. Hello YouTubers, welcome back to my series of WEGOVY for Veterans, and this is week number 4, and I have progressed on to the 0.5 dosage. I started that, which was my fifth injection, my 4th week. I started that this last Sunday as usual. I've noticed a few changes, not only in my weight. My weight seems to be consistent as it has been in the last week or two. I do continue to drop. It's usually about a pound at a time. Again, maybe 2.5 pounds to 3 pounds a week. It's kind of hard to say. But with Thanksgiving being tomorrow, I had hoped to be down 20 pounds, and that's not the case. The important thing is you don't get discouraged. Just be happy with the fact that you, like myself, is losing weight on a steady basis. And so it's slow but gradual. One of the things I've noticed on it is that I had a relatively large meal the other night, and that was, I believe, on Sunday, and I did feel uncomfortable. And so, and I think possibly it might have been a little bit too much at that time. I did cut back. My appetite is changing somewhat, and I've noticed that more recently than in the past few weeks. Another case in point was yesterday was the first day I actually started to feel a little bit nauseous, I guess I should say. Not bad, but just slightly nauseous. I just didn't really have the appetite. For breakfast, all I really had was a protein shake, and lunch, that again, I had a couple of fish burritos, but my calories were really pretty low. So then when it came time for dinner, I just wasn't even hungry. I'll admit I did have a little bit of cheese and crackers in the afternoon, but that wasn't that much. So when it came time around 5 o'clock or so, I just really was not hungry at all. And it's probably about the first time I felt where I actually had to force myself to get something. I mean, I didn't have to push real hard, but I did kind of encourage myself or force myself to get something. And I ended up having a little bit of leftovers, which took care of me for the rest of the evening. And so that also has been a side effect, or one of the things I've noticed, is that I am not hungry at night anymore like I used to. I used to snack every night. It could be anything from a package of crackers to cookies and milk to ice cream to 1 or 2 peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. I used to do that a lot, which is terrible, especially with the peanut butter and the high amount of calories you have in that, as well as fats. So that has not happened. Even with the few calorie or the few meals that I had yesterday, and the meal that I had last night was heavier than the other 2, I still did not break 1,000 calories. It was down right around 1,000 calories, which is not good. Somebody, my gender, my size, they say I should be up around 1,500 to 1,700 calories, and I only did 1,000. And the bad part about that is then you're starting to lose your muscle weight, and that's not good. So you want to lose that fat, not the muscle. So I have been keeping real good track of my my food intake or calories. I highly recommend. This is called the Move Coach. Again, I talked about this on the first video, but this is a free app that's available. I know it's available on Android. I think it might even be available through Apple. But even with its quirks, I do like the fact that I've got everything right here at my fingertips. Just when I hit tracker, I've got my weight diary where it keeps track of my weight when I weigh myself every morning. It does break it down. You can have a graph or a report off of that. Food tracking, I have my food log. It does help me find how many calories, are in each item. There are some flaws. Case in point, for instance, hard-boiled eggs are usually, when I get them from the store and they're already pre-cooked, they're 50 calories. If you look at a hard-boiled egg in the carton, there might be 60 to 70 calories. In this, when I record it, it records it as 80 calories. So a lot of times what I have to do is make adjustments, and I have to, instead of showing one full serving, I show like a 0.8 just to bring it down to where it should be. But it still kind of keeps you honest, and it helps you keep track of what you're taking in. And some of the stuff has got a very nice surprise. You'll find that the calories aren't as high as what you would think they would be. So it does have the graph as well in the report. And now the other thing is it's got a section on keeping track of my steps. And I do have a this is the Fitbit. This is just off-brand, but it keeps track of my steps every day, and I record this every night when I take the watch off. It also not only keeps track of it, it'll tell me how many steps per mile. For instance, yesterday I did 3,157 steps, and that was 1.5 miles. So, to be honest with you, on this particular watch or Fitbit or step tracker counter, I don't believe it's quite as accurate as the Fitbit or some of the other ones. My other one, which I have misplaced, used to keep, I think, better track, and I would have much more steps in than what this one does. And so I think it was a little bit more accurate. But that's okay. I mean, I'm still getting steps in, and if it records it pretty low, it gives me that much more to shoot for. The other thing is, it has a physical activity log, and that is if you go to the gym, you can, based on how many minutes that you're at the gym, you can list how many are aerobic, how many are strength, and how many is flexibility. And for instance, I will put down 45 minutes total, and that will determine how many calories I've used. And it figures about 574 calories per hour. Bicycling for 9.4 miles per hour, just a leisure bike ride, that's 666 calories. Walking, like 2 miles is about 230 calories. So, but it helps you see your progress and understand the effect of exercise with your diet. And as I have said before, I think the exercise is a very important thing. I just got done with my 3rd GeoFit class, this week, which is, I have them on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesdays, and Fridays. Thursday, especially this week, they're not even going to be having class because it's a holiday. But it's something that I really enjoy doing, and it's something that I recommend because it does help you burn off that weight. And I have found just by getting into the regular routine of 4 days a week. On the weekends, I'm ready to start it again. And fortunately, they do have pre-recorded sessions where you can log on to YouTube and watch a session where they'll run you through the entire routine. They also have a printout that they can send you to tell you what the different exercises are and how to guide yourself through it at your own pace. So, again, this is my 4th week, and like I said, I am back. I am actually on the 0.5 milligrams dosage, and I really feel pretty comfortable that it's doing well. Very little side effects. There's a lot of stuff out there that'll tell you what things you can do to avoid it. I know early on I had mentioned that somebody online had said that warming up your injection, or your syringe or the medication before you inject it makes it less painful, and I didn't agree with that. I am seeing, not with myself because I don't have that kind of a threshold for pain, but I am seeing that there's a few more people out there that are suggesting, prior to taking your medication, when you're doing an injection, to remove it from the refrigerator and let it warm up to room temperature for a little bit. Then they're saying that helps it. So for myself, basically I just take it out of the refrigerator, swab the spot, and then do my injection. Couple things that I've learned though in the past, and I haven't learned it through my own practice, but what I've seen online is that, for one thing, WEGOVY, I believe, is much more convenient because you don't have to apply the needles. Everything is all self-contained. All you do is pull off the cap. And so once you're done, you throw it away, or dispose of it the way you want, the best way possible. So, preferably in a sharps container, but not all of us have sharps containers. But the other important thing is that you change your locations where you do your shots. The important thing for that, or the purpose of that, is that it develops you, and you can't see it, but there's scar tissue that it creates. And so by rotating those locations, that will allow that scar tissue to heal. So in about 4 weeks, you can shoot it again. And so I've located it for different places around my navel, upper and lower of it, and to the left and to the right, but I've not stayed on the same spot. And so I have found that it seems to work out pretty well that way, although I believe in the next few weeks or so I'm going to start using other locations. Case in point, I'll probably use my thigh. And then when you do use your thigh or your arm, that's especially important to pinch that location where you're going to take that injection, because that grabs the fat and you don't go directly into the muscle. And you want to make sure that you've got fat that you're going into. Two things that they have problems, especially when people are given their injections via other products, is that they go too deep and they'll go into the muscle, or else they'll go too shallow and it'll go in between the layer of skin and the fat, and then they'll get a little bump there. And so you're basically, it's not causing you any damage, but you're just not getting the full benefits of the medication. So best thing to do is just follow the instructions, and I recommend watching a few different demonstration videos, and you can make your own decision which is the best way to go. So not too much more that I really have to go in and discuss on this particular week. Again, I've noticed a pretty drastic change in my appetite, and so and another example, not to drag on, is that this morning, even though the last 2 days I've had like a protein shake in the morning for breakfast, this morning I decided to have 2 eggs, 2 pieces of turkey bacon, and a couple of pieces of cinnamon toast. And the cinnamon toasts were considerably smaller than what I normally get. And I found it difficult. I was getting pretty well filled up by the time I was finishing up my breakfast, and and I was eating my toast. Because quirky as I am, I had my 2 eggs, and then I had my 2 pieces of bacon, and then the last thing I was eating was a toast. And that second piece, I was pretty much done. I probably should have or could have put it down, but I finished it off just to maintain my calorie count, because I know that over the course of the day today, and this is purposely because of Thanksgiving, I am kind of going light on a lot of my calorie intake. So, but tomorrow is going to be Thanksgiving, and weather permitting, I'll make it down from Newaygo to Kalamazoo, and I'll be eating much more than I normally do, and so my calorie count will be much, I think, higher. I'm still going to kind of watch it pretty much, but this is going to be an interesting Thanksgiving. So, one other thing I wanted to mention, and this is going to help you especially when you're sitting down for a very big meal, and something like Thanksgiving, where you've got family and friends that are cooking up their specialty dishes. You want to enjoy them. And I just went through a class that I do every month. It's called COM, and and I forgot the terminology, but it's like method eating. Method eating is you take your time, and I know all of my fellow vets have gone through this. When you go through basic training, you're told, get in that chow hall, eat, and get out. And so you've developed that bad habit of eating rapidly and eating large amounts. And so you don't get a chance to really taste the food. And I know we've all heard that from our parents. We've all heard that from our health-wise friends. They say you didn't even taste it. And so it's true. And when I went through this little program, even with trying it out, or using my protein shake, I can tell the difference from when I normally chug it down to when I actually took a sip and took my time drinking it, because then I could actually taste it and feel the different texture, the creaminess, and that sort of thing. And I found I enjoyed that protein shake yesterday much more than I ever did before. Before I just drank it down and that was it. It was done. So do this while you're eating. When you take your bite, whether it's the dressing or the turkey or the ham, or prime rib or steak or anything that you're eating, as well as the mashed potatoes and the gravy, anything that's going to have a lot of flavor to it. Savor it. Take a bite and then savor it. Don't just gulp it down. And you'll find you'll not only enjoy it more, but it's going to taste much better for you. So that pretty much kind of wraps it up. So I hope you enjoy your Thanksgiving for tomorrow. If you're going to be driving, drive carefully. And for instance, here in Nuevo County, and I know down in Kalamazoo County tomorrow, the roads may be pretty tough because it's already sticking out there. The snow's coming down, and they're predicting a pretty heavy snowfall. So make sure you you drive carefully, and you stay safe. If you got to be late, be late. It's better to be alive and late than in the hospital or even worse. So I hope this was informative for you. I'll be out again next week with another one after I take my next shot. And if you have any questions, please let me know. So if you like this video, please give it that thumbs up. If you haven't already, please subscribe. And most of all, thanks for watching. And again, please, comments, questions, whatever you think, let me know. I respond to all of them. These videos have created an awful lot of conversation or discussion out there. Have a good holiday, and we'll see you next week.